Could you start by introducing yourself and telling us your role on Valhalla?
Yep. So my name is Jessica Maher. I'm a game designer on the upcoming Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and my personal focuses are on user interface and user experience.
Awesome. I just want to start off by saying, how are you feeling, or asking, how are you feeling at this stage of development? You guys are so close to launch. What's kind of the vibe right now?
It's super exciting. I would say it's almost like electric. Like it's even when you're at home, you can feel all the developers are so excited. It's always a crazy time when you're almost at the finish line. It almost feels surreal, and it's a great time also to look back and see, how far we've come. And it's been amazing, honestly. So yeah, exciting, really exciting.
That's awesome. I can't wait to play. I'm sure. Yeah, it's a very exciting atmosphere right now. Um, so I was looking back at our previous interview a couple months ago, and I asked you what your favorite feature was that you worked on. And you said it's something relating to the settlement and that it's
That's
core
right.
to Eivor's pursuit and for a safe and thriving clan. At the time when I asked it, no one had seen the settlement. Um,
That's right.
yeah, it was still a secret. So now that it's out there, I wanted to ask you, what is that feature?
So the feature I was talking about at the time was the alliance map. And now that you've seen it, you might be like, like, why would you ever pick that? Because maybe for some players, it's simply an alliance map. It's a table. But the reason why it came to mind was mostly because of how much effort and how, well, the effort that it took to make it, but also what it signifies for our team. It was a pivotal moment for quests in general, how we were going to structure the narrative. The directors had this really defined vision, and then making that come to life was such a great challenge because it involved so many different skill sets to be involved. And it was also the core of the settlement at the time. It was one of the first things that we started iterating actively on. So when you asked me that at the time, I really felt fondly for the Alliance map. And now that you can see it for yourself, I'm so happy.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that because that was one of the things that stood out to me. I mean, the settlement was awesome across the board. I'm actually going to
Nice.
ask you a bit more about that in a second here, but
Sure.
the alliance map feels like so ingrained in the narrative. It feels like planting down a flag. Like you are declaring, like I'm going to go here and forge an alliance. It's really cool.
Definitely. It was such an ambitious goal as well because, we are an open world and there's so many things you can do. And I'm sure you've tried many in Leicestershire. It's such a big territory. But definitely the Alliance map is very core to what our directors had in mind to guide the player through decisions. And in this instance, you can only choose one territory. But of course, once the game launches, there's many more things you can see throughout through the Alliance map and through everything you do there. And there's some important decisions to be made there as well. So it's really exciting. I don't know. I'm really happy that people finally get to see that. It was such a grand endeavor and so significant to the settlement.
Yeah, it was an awesome feature. I tried scrolling around, of course, I tried
Yes,
everything.
of course.
And I saw the little bit about Grantis Bridge. Sure, I can't remember all the names, but
They're
there was a
challenging.
yes, yeah, they seriously are. But yeah, I wanted to ask you a little bit more about the settlement. I spent about an hour of my time just exploring it. It feels like a lot of love and attention was given to this part of the game. From your perspective, what do you hope players take away from the entire settlement experience?
It's a big question. What I hope people find in the settlement is really that sense of that this place is building itself with your people and with your efforts. And of course, in the demo, you start off where the settlement is kind of midway to its full expansion or its full creation. So you have access to a bunch of services that you didn't build yourself, but that feeling of really building each piece that creates all of these amazing opportunities either to meet new characters or to have new customization options. All those feelings really feel rewarding, and I find that so important. So I hope that players really find that sense um, of ownership, but also of sharing that with everybody that they get to know in the settlement.
Yeah, I didn't get, I got a lot of time with the game, but even in that short bit that I was in the settlement, I did start to feel that. So,
Oh, great. Oh,
yeah,
that's good.
yeah,
I'm happy.
it felt great. So another probably broad question here. Since your focus is on user interface and user experience, what are some of the biggest things that you're focusing on during the final stretch of development, if you can say?
Well, for sure, at this point, we're revisiting with, you know, kind of a more distant lens, all of the features. So we're kind of looking everywhere, making sure that everything fits and everything works, and, you know, just light touches here and there to really enhance that experience. But one of our big focuses was also to make sure that people are properly tutorialized through our experience, that people get to learn the mechanics. We've been so busy with play sessions, having people play our games, see what they think about it, what things were clear to them, less clear. So that's been a big focus for the UI team in general, and also the user experience team and everyone involved. So yeah, it's really like with a far away lens, everything, which is a big answer. But in the more specific, personally, it's been really making sure that players enjoy their experience, which is the most important. But second to that is also understanding all of the options and the many things they can do in our environment. Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a very broad experience, so I'm sure that's quite the undertaking.
Yeah, and we want to also make sure that everyone feels welcome to the experience. Of course, veterans might know quite well how things work and, you know, what things to look for. But we also want to welcome people who maybe have less experience with the franchise in general, or who are curious about the environment that we want to share. So for those people as well, we want to cater to them and make sure that, you know, they're up to speed with the veterans.
Right. Yeah. Awesome. So I wanted to ask a more personal question. Are you playing as a male or a female Eivor? In my demo, I chose the middle option, like the middle synchronization stream, and ended up playing mostly as female Eivor, and she was awesome. Cecily Stenspiel does a great job with her lines. I really felt like Eivor when I was playing as her. So yeah, what is your choice personally?
It's so funny because I always find it so hard, since I have such a, having listened to, you know, both characters speak, and I've played, you know, many of both, honestly. But usually if I were to play my own experience, you know, without the dev lens, I'd probably go with the middle option as well, of let the Animus decide. I find that to have a mystery to it, and I just really enjoy it. And again, both voice actors are so wonderful, and both characters or both genders have, you know, that little flair just because of, you know, the way that either they look or they speak. So there's no wrong answer, but I certainly enjoy playing Let the Animus Decide.
Yeah, that was an intriguing option there. Is something I just did not expect. Can you say anything more about that? I'm going to ask Darby about it later.
I think if you're going to ask Darby about it later, I think his answer will probably be much more polished than mine. And it is really more, you know, around his vision. So I don't want to spoil too much. Maybe he'll say something, but for me, I think I'll let him do it.
Gotcha. Awesome. So back to the game. Sure. It's absolutely gorgeous visually. The landscapes, they almost look like paintings when I was playing. The atmosphere just sucked me in as the player. How do you approach UI design when you've got such a high fidelity game graphically? Like, how do you balance keeping the player immersed in the world while also presenting like helpful information and tutorializing, like you mentioned?
It's a great question, because it is such a, you know, a complicated task in itself, but we're really fortunate. We have such amazing directors with us who keep that vision always intact, and so our approach typically is to make sure that it emphasizes and deepens whatever you see, but doesn't take away either. And we have many options that will come with the full release of the game for you to also customize those options if you want to reduce the amount of interface, if you feel like being more close to the environment with, you know, less user interface is something that interests you more. We will have those options, of course. But even if you do choose to have the interface is really designed to enhance and deepen everything we do, or that is at least what we strive to do. So definitely we're in close, you know, communication with the world teams and the designers of the beautiful environments. And yeah, we just try to keep everything in sync and with the same goal in mind.
Awesome. Yeah, I wanted to ask, is there an exploration mode like we had in Odyssey, where the game kind of gives you hints about where you need to go next instead of showing you exactly where to go?
We do have options planned for launch for you to modify certain things or customize your experience. We don't really have the same approach as Odyssey, but we do have options about exploration that will be available for the player to choose. And that will also cater to, yes, to maybe a more exploration-driven approach or a more guided approach. It's not quite the same, but we do have something in mind for sure.
Okay, cool. So from my experience with the demo, I just wanted to explore. It feels like this world is full of secrets, and I wish I had unlimited time to explore on my own. I wanted to ask, what is your most fun, like, favorite activity in Valhalla if you had to choose one?
Ooh, when you say activity, do you mean like a reoccurring event, or do you mean like, for example, like the drinking games, or do you mean like a mystery, so like a specific unique event?
I will say an activity.
Activity? You know, I didn't think this would be my final pick, but it's really like grown on me a lot, and it's flitting. For some reason, I just find those interactions just so funny and so interesting, and each of them have their own little sense of telling parts of the story. So flitting has really grown on me. Not to say that like the others, you know, haven't. It's just that that one surprises me every time I play it. I always end up either laughing or thinking, and it's just such a unique approach to gameplay. I really enjoy flitting, so that's gonna be my choice.
Yeah, I got to do two of those. I missed it completely in my first session, but I got to do the one in the settlement with the character. I can't remember his name, and another one in another city. But I was also surprised by how much I enjoyed that, just because it made me think. I had to think about, the cadence, and I love how grounded that is. Exactly, yeah. It feels very appropriate to the setting. So that was so much fun in the demo.
Yeah, I agree, and it also kind of shows some of the talented writers we have. You know, they play such funny word plays and things that are so distinct to this environment and this setting. I've never seen something quite like it. So, and it's also something that I touch upon less with my day to day. So it's something that surprises me just every time. But I'm really happy you enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, it was really fun. So I noticed several small UI tweaks from this demo compared to the last one, such as the way that weapon tiers are presented. It was kind of like the outline in the first one, and now it's like you've got that bold sort of, this is the bronze tier, this is the silver tier, and also how buffs appear over the adrenaline bars in the bottom left. I know these are very specific things, but what informs these kinds of decisions? I'm always curious about what goes into those changes.
There's a combination of things. I would say the basic one is usually that we have it planned and it's in the works. And sometimes, you know, demos take builds that are previous. So of course we don't have time to implement all the things that we want at that moment. But usually what happens also is with playtests, we love putting players on our game and seeing how they feel and what their thoughts are and things they understood better, things they understood less. So with that, we usually tweak quite a bit the experience to make sure that it A, fits, you know, what we had as a vision from the get-go, but B, translates that well to the player. So it's kind of a combination of both those things.
Gotcha. Yeah, I know, super specific question, but yeah, it's stuff like that I'm always curious about.
For sure. No, it's always surprising too, because you know, people will play the demo and expect, oh, like this must be the final product. But, you know, as I said last time, our UI is still being worked upon. And at this point, you know, we're a bit more confident with what we have. And it's definitely, you know, we're close to the finish line. And I think you've seen kind of what that product looks like. But for sure, it's always something that we try to improve until the last minute. It's just how we are.
Awesome. So I wanted to ask you, did you work on any accessibility features for Valhalla? And if so, could you tell us about them and what it's like to make your game more accessible so that anyone, absolutely anyone, can play it?
Yes, so I had a part to play in this, but there are so many people who participated in this. This is such a big core value to our team and also to co-dev teams, notably Kiev, who worked on this so adamantly. Unfortunately, in our demo, we don't get to preview many of the accessibility we have. I believe we will have, however, an extensive list being released soon for people to know what the experience will be at launch, and I'm really excited for that. But know that we are certainly working on this, and I think a lot of our players will be really happy with the things that we've added since the previous entries. And I wish I could just list them all, but I think I'll wait until the official list comes out so you guys can evaluate it on your own.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's such an important thing that I think has been a trend lately in games, and it's awesome to see that you guys are doing that
Oh
too.
yeah, absolutely. And I think all the developers can happily agree with this. This is so important. Everyone should be able to experience something that we've worked so hard upon, and it's been such a priority for us to make sure that that is possible, at least to the best of our ability. So I'm really excited for people to see what we have in store for that.
Awesome. I can't wait either. What is the biggest challenge that you've faced on the user experience side of things with Valhalla? While this game does feel kind of similar compared to the last couple of games, did any new challenges pop up specific to Valhalla?
It's an interesting question. I almost wish my UX director, Franck Mercier, could be here, since he was also on Origins and I personally was not. But, you know, I've understood between the lines a couple things. And one thing I would say is that a challenge with Assassin's Creed in general is we have such a big and vast experience to offer to players. There's so many things the player can do, and all of them have their key role in what, you know, the world means and what you can do with it. So it's always making sure that players remember the key things they can do, what actions they can do, using Sunan, using the map, the compass, all of these things. So that is always a big challenge in our games, to make sure that everything feels within the player's reach or understanding. And I'm sure a lot of big games can relate to this, but Assassin's Creed always has a bunch of things like stealth and all of the other mechanics. There's just so many to share, and it's also up to the player to choose. So making sure that it feels like a player's choice, but also encompassing all of those things, always a big challenge.
Gotcha. Yeah, I know. Broad question. But
it's
thank
a
you
good
for your
one.
answer. Yeah.
Of course.
So if you had to choose one thing, what are you most excited for players to experience when your game comes out next month?
This might seem broad, but this always catches me by surprise, and it's all the small pockets of content, especially what I personally find in the exploration. I love going to mysteries every time, because again, it's a thing that even I am not, you know, too involved in directly, and when I find a new one, every time I get excited, and it always gives you that bit more of information, or that bit more of, wow, this world really feels real. So I think players, you know, they expect a lot of things from our game, and you know, we're sharing a lot of information, but there's so many little pockets of gameplay that have yet to be really shared and explained or experienced by them. So I think the mysteries and territories maybe is the one thing that I'm really looking forward to players experiencing.
Yeah, I felt that draw to go and explore, like I mentioned earlier. And yeah, there were certain things that were always kind of catching my interest. Like you'll see something out on the landscape and be like, wow, I really want to go there and check that out. Mm-hmm. Or I had a Saxon woman crying for help as I was
yes.
I was traveling the river. I didn't end up helping her, which makes me look like a bad person, but I was on a mission. Eivor's got priorities, right?
Maybe she'll be there when you get back, hopefully.
Maybe. We'll see. But yeah, there's so many underground areas. I think that's the one thing that surprised me most, is how many places you can just whip out your torch and, you know, light the cobwebs on fire and just see what's down there.
Yeah, yes. There's so many little details like that. And the world is huge, not just, you know, speaking in terms of breadth, but also we have so many things that are either high up or down below. Like there's so many places to explore, and our level designers did an excellent job at making things hard to find or giving you clues as to how to access all of these secret areas. So definitely, if someone is keen on exploring, there's so much to do.
Right. And I also appreciated how exploration worked. It felt more like my hand wasn't being held. It was, if this door is barred, find a way to open it. And so that really challenged me. I feel like it almost felt like some puzzling within the exploration.
Yes, and that's definitely intentional. There was a big objective for that, and I'm happy that you saw it too and that you noticed it. There's a lot of little challenges like that, and of course, we never force them upon the player. It's really up to the player to decide if they want to adventure in that route or decide to, you know, find all the little details that are in the world. But definitely, there's a lot of little puzzles or challenges to be done there for sure.
Awesome. Well, that's the end of my planned questions. Is there anything you want to say to people who might watch this interview before Valhalla comes out?
honestly, at this point, it's really just I hope you enjoy the experience. If you decide to get it for yourself, so many people have put so much effort, energy into this, and we're really proud of what we're able to achieve, and we're so happy with all of the reception and the excitement. The community has really impressed me. I must say I'm relatively new to it, and people have been so nice and wonderful and excited, and I hope you guys really enjoy what we did for Valhalla.
Yeah, it's a very passionate group. But yeah, I know. I've found the community really welcoming. I'm kind of relatively new to it in terms of making content on the internet, and they're just the best.
It's really incredible. It's a tight-knit community, and I hope we do you guys proud.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. Good luck on the launch of Valhalla. I really love your game, and I can't wait to play more.
Thank you so much.
I really hope you guys enjoyed this interview as much as I did recording it. Thanks once again, big time to Jessica for taking the time to chat once again here on the channel. Some great insights. So that was a great time. And thanks to the Ubi PR Creator Team for setting this up. I can't express how cool it is to be able to do this and share it with you guys. But the interviews are not over because I've still got one more with art director Raphael Lacoste, which is just fascinating. We have a really awesome chat. So make sure you stay tuned and subscribe so you don't miss that. It'll be out later this week. Big thanks to my YouTube members, Grass, David, Kamal, Casey, Matthew, Spyro, JVO, John, Lilman, Brock, Tia, and Nos for supporting the channel. If you want to support me further, click the join button below this video. In exchange for your support, you'll unlock custom badges and emotes to use in chat. Check the link in the description for more information. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.